How are y'all doing? Oh, I need to put my cigarette out. I could discover the camera when I want to take a puff. Oh, so how's everyone doing tonight? I want to know, do y'all want to read ghost stories or chit chat? Hey, check my shirt out, Sapphire. I'm so fancy. I love it, girl. Love it. It is chilly out here. Hey, Cindy. Gosh, I can't see to operate my phone with this light that bright. Let's take it down a notch. Hey, hibiscus. How are you doing? Oh, yeah, let's take it down a little bit. That light blinds me, and I can't see to operate my phone. My son got me hooked on JT Latte Yum. Store-bought, not Starbucks. Does it taste good? I've always wanted to try some hot tea. Hey, Charlie Girl says, how are you doing? Only tea I've ever tried is sweet tea. Let me find, oh my goodness, I need my stuff here. Okay. Hey, Samara. Cement shoes. So I guess, are y'all ready for ghost stories? Great. My work got hit with malware. Our computer had been shut down since Saturday. Oh, no. That sucks. It's delicious, especially today. I'm cold. You know what? It's been cold here today. I used to burn up all the time. Hot flashes. Hey, Mommy Mars. Yes, ghosts. Okay. Well, I'm going to read y'all some ghost stories from here. Um, Anyways, I used to burn up until I started taking blood pressure medicine, and now I freeze to death. Me and Chloe both. I would show y'all Chloe, but it's chilly out here. She don't need to be out in the cold air. Hey, Southern Mom. Oh, yeah, I was going to tell y'all something about Chloe. I forgot. So the doctor told us to stop feeding her on the floor. Like, so I've been putting her food up on like this little box and letting her eat it because he said like where she has like an enlarged heart, it's like hard for the food to go down. Also, before I get started on the ghost stories, I mentioned it this morning at the end of my stream. I got a tie-dye kit. I got 10 different colors. Mark got it at Walmart last night, and I got 3 extra large t-shirts because somebody's a chubby girl that lives in this house. I'll not mention no names. But I was like, because I've been dying to tie-dye. I was like, put this up in the closet and hide it from me. If not, I'm going to get into it and start tie-dyeing. Yay, ghost stories. I was just watching Mr. Ballin, her. Oh, I've never heard of that. I've been watching Everybody Loves Raymond. I just went and put up the chickens and the goat. Oh, y'all should have seen Annabelle this morning, y'all. She was bucking and raring up this morning. I didn't have my daggone phone over there at all times. It was so funny. Okay, let's read. Okay, 5 Appalachian legends bound to spook you. It actually says this Halloween, even though it's not Halloween. Coming from the border of eastern Kentucky and southern West Virginia, I was always surrounded by tons of folklore and legends. Okay, this author is Haley Blackburn. The Appalachian Mountains make for the perfect scene when it comes to any spooky situation. This Halloween, I decided to share with you some of the scariest myths and legends I heard growing up. This was put out October 29th, 2018. Okay, it says disclaimer. All of the stories below are only tales that I have heard throughout my time in Appalachia. They are not meant to be factually accurate, but rather legends that provide entertainment. Although most legends have a factual root, I can't provide any factual proof to support that the happenings of these stories are true. Let's see. This is called Her Campus, this website. Okay, so first we're going to read the story of Octavia Hatcher. Ooh, that's a cool name. I'm already getting chills. I just wanted to give the author their credit, just for a second. Okay, Octavia Hatcher. I come from a small town called Belfry. I know where it's at. Outside the tiny but growing city of Pikeville, Kentucky. It's nestled in the heart of eastern Kentucky. Pikeville is home to one of the scariest and most realistic stories, being buried alive. In 1889, Octavia Smith married James Hatcher, one of the richest men in town. Their marriage was short, and they had only one son who passed away shortly after birth. The young mother fell into a depression, staying in bed for months. She eventually fell ill and slipped into a comatose state. Doctors simply couldn't wake her. About 5 months after the death of her son, doctors pronounced Octavia dead from unknown causes on May 2nd, 1891. The funeral took place almost immediately, and she was buried in the Pikeville Cemetery. As the legend has it, others in the town started to fall ill with similar comatose symptoms. The rumored illness was some kind of sleeping sickness caused by the bite of testis flies. However, these people were starting to wake up from their coma. Soon James realized his wife may have done the same thing. He rushed to exhume her coffin to find a horrifying sight. His wife had in fact been buried alive, woke up from her sleeping sickness while in her coffin. Her fingernails were bloody from scratching the lining of the coffin, and her face was distorted into a look of terror, covered with scratches and tears. Ooh, that's crazy. That is crazy. Her husband erected a monument of her with their son in her arms in a hotel across the city that faced her grave. Vandals have broken off the baby from the statue, and it now lies beside her. For a long time, it was said that Octavia's monument would turn her back on the city on the anniversary of her death out of anger, since they had allowed her to be buried alive. This was discovered to just be a prank done by some of the local college students. However, there has been some activity that has yet to be debunked. Many have reported seeing a misty apparition of a woman in the cemetery who is often said to be Octavia herself. There are reports of sounds of a woman or kitten crying coming from the cemetery. Okay, the end. Ooh, wouldn't that be awful to be buried alive? Now, my granny told me a similar story that happened to one of our relatives. Um, she was buried alive. She had been in a coma. They thought she was dead. They buried her alive. They put all of her jewelry. They was kind of wealthy. They put all of her jewelry on her and stuff, and they buried her. And the grave diggers came that night after they buried her and dug her up, and they started pulling on her fingers, trying to get her rings off, and she freaking raised up. And they took off getting it, my granny said, and she crawled back to her daddy's steps, and she lived many, many years. That is a true story. I don't know if this one's true, but that is a true story. Just imagine how many people back then were buried alive. It's scary. Oh, gosh. I do not want to be put in a coffin. Mm-mm. Okay, so the next one is Dingus Tunnel. My little town borders West Virginia very closely, so I've heard lots of great West Virginian folklore. One example of this comes from the Dingus Tunnel. It started as a project for the railroad during the growth of coal in the 1890s. However, building a tunnel of this size through such a mountainous area required a lot of workers. The railroad company brought in immigrants to build the tunnel. Due to the prejudice and racism of the area in the 19th century, the locals did not take well to the idea of having foreign people in their small town. Legend says that the locals would stand at the entrance and exit of the tunnel, shooting anyone who didn't look like to be Appalachian. It's also rumored that masked men would remove passengers from the trains and kill them if they didn't fit their preferred description. However, these murders weren't the only deaths within the tunnel. There have been around 10 reported deaths from train wrecks in the tunnel. Due to the bloody history, or maybe just the discovery of a better trade route, the railroad moved away from the hilly terrain of Dingus to the gentle slopes of the Big Sandy River. Dingus was left without just industrial activity. I cannot say that right now. And the tunnel sat unused. By the 1960s, the tunnel was converted to use for road traffic. However, it was only wide enough for traffic one way. And the lack of light inside makes it a dangerous feat for any travelers. Although I don't know any specific ghostly encounters within the tunnel, I know that those who drive through the tunnel report feeling uneasy and many dread facing the tunnel, haunted by such a dark history. Ooh, I'm not going through that tunnel. Okay, that one wasn't too good. So now we're going to read Old Hospital on College Hill. One of our local hospitals is swamped with haunted history. Although I don't know the specifics of what exactly gives the hospital its haunted legend, I know many people have reported paranormal activity inside. In fact, there are so many reports of paramount occurrences that they are offering ghost tours this month. Well, that was then. Attendees have reported seeing faces in the windows, many of which have been captured in photographs. One of the most popular rooms for activity seems to be the X-ray room. Many of the participants have sensed an indescribable presence there. Others have reported seeing a dead man in the room. Tour guides and guests both reported strange occurrences, flashlights going off or doors shutting for no reason. Okay. Here's a legend. 22 Mine Road. Ooh, I do too. No tunnels for this duck. Thank you. Hey, Grandma Ducky. Who else? Sunnyside. Who else am I missing? Oh, Grandma Ducky, thanks for the super chat sticker. I appreciate that. Okay. 22 Mine Road. Although this legend doesn't receive much attention, the frightening tale of Mammy Thurman and 22 Mine Road has always been one of my favorites. In 1932, Mammy Thurman, a pretty local housewife to Logan, West Virginia police officer, was found murdered on 22 Mine Road. The murder was too brutal to describe. She was found to have all of her belongings, including a diamond engagement ring, ruling out robbery as a motive. However, Mammy was said to be involved in many romantic relationships with some prominent men of the town. One being her landlord, Harry Robertson. He and his black in-house handyman, Clarence Stevenson, went to trial for the crime after evidence of bloody rags and razors were found in the Robertsons' house. Robertson's prominent position as the president of the city commission landed him a get-out-of-jail-free card. However, Stevenson was indicted only on the grounds of circumstantial evidence. This indictment caused a much buzz about racial injustice in the law. Stevenson confessed to moving the body but claimed to have never actually hurt Mammy. Many saw, maybe her name's Mamie, many saw this as an injustice to both Thurman and Stevenson, as the controversial case remains partially unsolved. A controversy surrounding Thurman's burial also adds to an unsolved aspect of this case. Records show she is buried at both Logan Memorial Park and somewhere in Bradfordsville, Kentucky. Due to the injustice suffered by Mamie, many reports of her ghostly presence still occur today. On 22 Mine Road, it is said that you can often see her walking around the roadway. The strangest occurrence is said to be a physical interaction with the ghost, in which you park at the bottom of the road, placing your car in neutral, and it will roll uphill. This spooky phenomenon is said to be Mamie Thurman pushing your vehicle for you. Ooh. Now, the next one is the famous Mothman. Have y'all ever watched anything about the Mothman? I think the Mothman's got like those big old, of course, like big old wings and stuff. I have saw a movie that was similar to that story, Hibiscus, the one I just read. I watched a movie about that. It was almost identical. Okay, the Mothman. If you are an avid internet user, I'm sure you've heard of the Mothman. He is a pivotal part of Appalachian folklore. The creature is said to be a man-sized humanoid. Is that how you say that? Humanoid? With large wings and red glowing eyes. He has plagued the state of West Virginia since 1966. Couples have reported seeing him fly over their cars on the way back from outings. Most sightings have occurred by the World War II abandoned TNT storage, leading to the legend that the creature may be a mutant. Other claim he may be an alien or undiscovered species. I say he's a freaking devil, or they've been drinking too much damn moonshine. Sightings of him are often seen as a bad omen. After a 1967 sighting of the beast atop the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the structure fell, killing 46 people. After this tragedy, 12 flashing lights were reported in the sky over Point Pleasant. From there, the intertwining of UFOs and Mothman really became prominent, and even legends of men in black, questioning witnesses, have become a legend in the area. Due to the popularity of this legend, the town hosts a museum and annual festival to celebrate their spooky creature. Ooh. Okay, so I just had 5 on that one. Let me see what else I got. I had a few more, I thought. We need to do, like, research the Mothman and maybe do, like, the Jersey Devil, too. Let's see. 5 legends from the Appalachian Trail. Let's see what this one says. Spearfinger. A Cherokee legend from somewhere around the Tennessee, North Carolina area. Spearfinger is a woman with long, sharp fingernail on her right forefinger, made of stone. Her feet crash like thunder as she walks through the forest. Victims can hear her approaching footsteps and see the birds fly away in fear. She used her long, sharp nail to cut open her victims' bellies and eat their livers, which left her mouth and face permanently stained red with blood. Oh my gosh, I've never heard of that legend. Okay, here's another legend. The Scorched Man. This legend comes from 2011 when a man was on a week-long hike on the Appalachian Trail. On his first night in the woods, he built a campfire, then went to work setting up his sleeping bag. When he turned around, he was startled by a man standing next to his fire. His body was not only completely burnt, but it was smoldering. The hiker quickly packed up his gear and ran back towards his car, frightened. He lost his way and emerged from the woods on a strange road. Along the edge of the road, he saw a recently burnt house and a fire chief standing outside making notes on a clipboard. He told the fire chief what he saw, thinking it may have been one of the fire victims. The chief told him that was impossible since the entire family that lived in the house had all burned to death. Oh my gosh, that is so creepy. I can go to the Pine Barrens for the Jersey Devil anytime you need me to. Oh God, Smart, don't go alone. Don't go alone if you're going to go look for the Jersey Devil. I believe people see something, but sometimes our minds can play tricks on us. Sometimes I scare myself. But hey, I have seen stuff. One day I was vacuuming and I was bent over and something went by me like psh, psh, psh. And like I raised up and shut the shop back off. And I was like, oh God, Celeste, you're just scaring yourself. So I cut it back on and I bent back over and it did it again. And I know what I saw. I was scared to freaking death. And I told Mark, and he has seen those shadow figures in the house too. It's crazy. I swear it's the truth. Okay, the Pierce Pond Ghost. Up in Maine, there's an excellent fishing hole on the Appalachian Trail known as Pierce Pond. After spending the day fishing, a fisherman set up camp, lit a fire to cook up the day's catch. As twilight set in, the man saw the silhouette of someone approaching his campsite, walking along the edge of the water. The strange figure didn't get too close before it faded into the night. Not thinking much of it, the fisherman ate his meal and went to sleep. The next night, the fisherman saw the strange figure approaching once again. This time it got even closer, pausing and looking at the fisherman before disappearing once more. The next night the same thing happened, only this time the figure was even closer. So close that the fisherman could almost make out his blurred facial features. He paused even longer this time. The fisherman could see that there was a sinister expression on his shadowy face. Then, just like the last two nights, the strange man disappeared into the darkness. That night, the fisherman stayed awake, huddled next to the perceived safety of his fire. The next morning, not wanting to see how close the stranger would get on the fourth night, the fisherman packed up his gear and headed home. He never went back to Pierce Pond again. Oh, by God, I would have been out of there the first daggone night. I would have been out kicking rocks. I can't sleep with my hands or feet hanging over the side of my... Me either, says that. You know what I have to do? I have to tuck the cover under my feet. I've always been like that. When I was little, I always just think there was a witch under my bed. I don't know why. And if I always thought if I didn't hide my feet, like she would pull me off the bed. And I still hide my feet to this day. And I know there's not a witch under my bed. Okay, Ghost of the Civil War. During the Civil War, 3 major battles were fought around the Maryland portion of the Appalachian Trail. So many lives were lost during these battles that is rumored that many of their spirits still haunt this section of the trail. To this day, hikers report seeing the eyes of the dead staring through the trees during the night. There are also those who say they can hear the screams of wounded soldiers crying out for help. Ooh, I watched an episode on Unsolved Mysteries, and these people had bought this property where they had had like a Civil War battle on before, and they were visited by Civil War soldiers, ghosts, inside of the house. And like they saw them every night. They could look out their windows and see, like, according to them, and see those ghosts standing around the property in their old uniforms. I would freak out. I really would. I'd freak out. My ass would be gone. I'd be going and getting some salt and putting around my house so no evil can cross in. Hey, Mandolin. How dare him not to say how close it would get. I know it. I know it. I figured the story was going to say, like, It got like right up on him, something scary happened. But nope. Okay, Dudleytown, Connecticut. Dudleytown, Dudleytown, Connecticut is also known by another name, Village of the Damned. Ooh. The town was founded around 1740. According to the legend of Dudleytown, the town's founders were direct descendants of the English nobleman Edmund Dudley. Edmund found himself on King Henry's, what is that, the sixth batside? I think it's the sixth batside, and was beheaded for treason. It is said that after the beheading, the entire family was placed under a curse which followed them across the Atlantic and into their new home of Dudleytown. The town lasted for roughly 60 years and struggled the entire time until it was abandoned for good around 1800. Only a few buildings remain, and those are on private property just off of the Appalachian Trail, where access is strictly forbidden. Oh, it looks like they have straw roofs on there. I don't. Oh, you guys probably can't see. Straw roofs. Oh, I would like to go there. I want to go to the Bell Witch Cave. That's where I want to go. Oh my gosh, guys. My feet are freaking froze off. And I got socks on. It is cold as hell. Okay, so I guess that's it for ghost stories. I think I have some more, but we will save them for another freaking stream. Let me see what y'all are saying. And I have to sleep. The covers to protect me. Oh, I know it. So, do y'all know any scary ghost stories? Let me see if I can think of another one. Oh, yeah, but I've told this one before. My dad's dad was an alcoholic, like, back in the day. I would say this happened probably in the 70s or something, maybe late 60s. He said he was driving home up the holler. There was this woman beside the road. He was drunk as hell. He stopped. He picked her up. And they was riding up the road. She never did say nothing. He looked over and he's like, hey, where do you want out at? Because, I live on up the road. And he looked over at her and he said she was white as a ghost. He said he automatically stopped the truck, was completely sober by then, and ran all the way home. And he swore to God it was the truth. He said, when I looked over and seen her, just as pale as she could be, it's like I sobered up like that right there. He said, I just left my truck. I guess he kind of he just pulled over to the side of the road and just got out and ran. I'm going to be scared to death tonight, y'all. Y'all see how I have that little cover over my door window? I got like a little magnet. I'll open it during the day, but I close that down at night. And I have like another little cutout on my living room door. It kind of goes around like that. And I keep something over it at night. Because, it's like my worst fear. One of my worst fears is waking up one night to go to the bathroom and seeing somebody looking through my damn door at me. I dread when Mark goes on his big motorcycle ride. Like, I'm happy for it, but I dread, like, being here at night. That's what I dread about it. The White Witch. Oh, I bet it. The hollers I grew up in and around, like, a lot of old-timers, they said they would not dare walk at night up the road. I've done it many of the times. I have. It was creepy. I never did see nothing, but I don't know if it was where I was kind of jittery, scared, but I always felt like somebody was watching me. And when I was walking at night, I'd always turn around to make sure, like, Jason Voorhees wasn't chasing me or some crap. Oh, hold it in until morning. I have done that before. When I was little, I used to hold my pee a lot. at night because I was like scared to death of everything, and I would not get up at night and use the restroom. I can relate. Oh, she's talking to Samara. Yeah, like I like creepy stuff, but then I get scared. But like I've always like been into like horror movies and stuff since I've been like about 8 or 9 years old. I started out watching the Friday the 13th movies when I was probably about 8 years old. And they scare me to death, and I loved them. I used to sleep with my closet light on. I hate freaking closets. I hate closets. I'm going to tell you a crazy story my brother told me. And he said he was sober, but he said he was staying all night with his girlfriend. And he said this was the scariest he had ever been. He's had several experiences. But he said that there was a little blonde-headed boy standing in the closet at the door of the walk-in closet. And he said he saw that ghost several different times. So I don't know if there was a kid that died on that land. I know there wasn't one that died in that double wide because they bought it new. Hey, Vicky. I made your live stream, CC. Oh, your ghost stories scare me. You'll have to go back and listen to the woods. There was one where a woman was buried alive, which I grew up on true crime, JFK, Manson, Zodiac. See, my granny, she watches true crime, and I can remember watching Susan Smith on the TV with my granny. That's really how I got interested in true crime. I'll never forget it. That's when Susan done that plea for kids on TV. Me and Granny is sitting there watching it live. She turned around, she looked at me, and she said that woman killed her kids. She wanted him to make eye contact. And sure enough, it was like a day or two later, like she admitted she drowned her kids. That got me into like true crime. I've always been really interested in serial killers. I don't know why. It's just like the way they think and stuff is just bumfuzzles me. It's interesting, but they're monsters. But their behavior is interesting to learn about. That's what I'm saying. I want to go to the Cecil Hotel in the Winchester home. I want to go to the Lizzie Borden house. I really do. I want to go stay in the Lizzie Borden house. But I'm not going and staying there by myself. Somebody had to be in the room with me, in the bed with me. I got a skeleton in my closet. I'd say we all have skeletons in our closets. Yes, we want to know why they kill. You know, a lot of these experts, they come up with these excuses like Ted Bundy. Oh, Ted Bundy hated women because he found out his sister was his mom. Like, a lot of people go through things like that. They will find out the person that raised them is not even related to them. Or maybe an older sister raised them, or maybe a grandmother raised them and they thought it was the real mom, and they don't go kill people, don't go kill women. And the thing with Jeffrey Dahmer, like his parents like argued a lot and his mom was a pill popper. And she did take a bunch of medicine when she was pregnant with him. But I think he was born evil. When he was like 3 years old, his dad said his dad had like removed some bones from underneath the house. I guess like rats or something, where he trapped rats and they died. Anyways, Jeffrey's like 3 years old and he is picking up the bones out of that bucket and dropping them because he just loved the sound that they made when they dropped. Yeah, we need a story time, Sonny. What water could be washed with the Cecil? Oh my gosh. Can you imagine, speaking of the Cecil Hotel, can you imagine when that girl was in that water tank on top of the Cecil Hotel and there was like other people staying in the hotel drinking that water? Brushing their teeth. Who's your favorite sicko? Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, he's always been my favorite. I never could understand about that weirdo. He was smart. he could have really done stuff if he, good with his life, if he hadn't been so twisted. Like, he was like, what? Helping campaign for some Republican Party. He was working like on a suicide prevention hotline, taking calls. I mean, I don't know. He was in law school. He wasn't that bad looking. But I'll tell you what I think happened with him. That I think something went right with him anyways, because I think his aunt or cousin woke up one time when Ted was little, and she woke up and Ted had put knives all the way around her. But when he got that one girlfriend who was like, he thought was out of his league, she was from a good family, she broke his heart. I think that really done something inside his twisted head, because all the girls that he killed looked similar to her. Belle Gunness makes Eileen Wuornos look like an amateur. Oh, yeah. I know. That's the truth. She sure does. Eileen, she would... Well, I like Eileen and Ted. Eileen, I felt sorry for her. Even though I know she deserved to be punished and stuff, but I think when they put her to death, she wasn't in her right mind. Mm-mm. She had a horrific childhood. I know that's no excuse, but I think they should have just gave her life. Uh-oh. Yeah, I hear Skylar and they're crying at the door. Well, guys, I guess I better get off here. I'm about froze to death. I will see y'all in the morning. Hopefully, I'm going to try to do a stream in the morning, keep on schedule. I've got a lot of stuff I need to do. I don't really need to do a stream in the morning, but I'm probably going to anyways. CC, check out the Bizarre Ted Bundy's final interview. There's a part where the phone rings and he looks like he thinks it's the governor calling. Hey, Ted Bundy, he went from being this cocky person to them having to drag him to the electric chair. They had to drag him there. And he was crying, which I can't say that I blame him. But hey, look how he done those girls. They was crying too. They was begging for their life too. And he killed them. He was a real sicko. He would revisit the bodies and have sex with the decomposing bodies. Sick. Gacy's interesting. Peace out. Love your eyeshadows. That's your new palette. No, actually, this is not my new palette. I've not got it yet. The top is Morphe, and the bottom is a liquid eyeshadow Ipsy sent me. Yeah, Bundy and Ramirez are my faves. Yeah. Yeah, I read The Night Stalker. The first true crime book I ever read was The Night Stalker. But I can't remember it because, I was in high school. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get off here and go in and warm up. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for coming and listening to me run my mouth. Hearts. Hey, Lisa Irwin, when I get that eyeshadow palette, I'll show it to you. I'm excited about it. It's called something coconuts. Hey, ColourPop has a good sale right now. Check them out. Anyways, good night, y'all. Be safe. Be kind. Peace. Love y'all.